Hello there, Dips and Cribbles, it's me, Scott. This week's theme on Derps and Chortles is Derps and Chortles Teaches. So today I was sitting at dinner, and my mother and my grandmother both said that they didn't know how to play chess. And I was like, what? It's hot in here. Initiate fan sequence. Okay, so it was at that point that I decided I'd do this week's Derps and Chortles video on how to play chess. Just the basics. Let's go on over to the chessboard. This is the chessboard. This is how you set it up. It goes rook, knight, bishop, queen, king, bishop, knight, rook. And then this row is all pawns. And then it's mirrored on the other side. That's the rook. It can move like this or like this, however many spaces you want it to. This is the knight. It moves in an L shape, in any direction imaginable. The bishop moves diagonally. Now you have the king. He's what the whole game revolves around. The king can move in any direction, but only one space. This is the queen. She can move in any direction, however many spaces you want her to. She cannot, however, do a knight's L. Now we come to the pawn. A pawn can only move one space forward. But if a pawn hasn't moved at all during a chess game, it can move 2 forward for its first move. And then after that, it can only move 1. If there is perchance an enemy piece diagonally 1 space from a pawn can capture that piece by moving diagonally. A pawn cannot, however, capture a piece moving forward. No. Only diagonal. Another cool thing about the pawn, if you can manage to get a pawn to the far end of the board, the pawn can be then promoted to whatever piece you want. So generally you could say, oh, I want another queen. So, ba-boom, boom, that pawn's now another queen. It's essentially possible to have as many queens as you do pawns. Pawns can become anything, it's just getting them to this end line that is difficult. And it doesn't have to be a queen. You can substitute the pawn out for a knight, a bishop, a rook, or even another pawn. It doesn't matter. If it gets to this end line, that pawn becomes whatever you want it to be. Another special move that can be done is called castling. If you have a king and a rook that haven't moved at all during the whole game, you can castle. Basically, the rook goes here and the king goes here. So now we've set up the chessboard. The 2-move checkmate and the 4-move checkmate. The 4-move checkmate is called Scholar's Mate, and it's actually pretty common in beginners. The 2-move checkmate is called Fool's Mate, and is actually just a really stupid thing to do, and you're not gonna ever do it because I'm gonna teach you how to avoid it. Here it is. Let's say you do this, and then the other guy does this, and then you say, oh, I'm gonna do this, and then you go, and then the king is trapped. The king can't move anywhere that would save him, and there's nothing you can do with any of your pieces that could save him. So now I'm going to reset, and I'm going to show you the Scholar's Checkmate, which is actually fairly common. It starts with this pawn from the king moving 2 spaces, and this pawn doing the exact mirror opposite thingy. So you take your queen, and you bring it out yaw. You take your knight, and you bring it out yaw. And then you take your bishop, and you bring it right meow. And then you take this knight, and bring it right meow. And then this queen captures this pawn, and you have a checkmate.